Folks, welcome back. I'm back. No intro for this. We're just doing some quick updates while we're waiting for another streamer to go live. So let's oopsie, get that out of the way and get to business here real quick. You can see we've had our big blast right here. This is the one we reported on earlier today, and a secondary blast with another object, and then the release of this slow motion one over here on this side. So we have a lot of stuff going on right here. The original blast that we reported on earlier, our secondary blast, and then the slow motion event going on over here, and then it finally starts to release there. Okay, and we'll go into more detail about this later on tonight on the second half of this stream. I'm kind of waiting for another streamer, Marfugel, to do his stream. So in the meantime, we're covering some stuff because there's a lot to cover. So this is May 10th, 2023, and we had multiple events on the sun with multiple objects. That's the first event, followed by another event with more objects, and then the slow motion event over here on the side as well. Okay, so a lot going on the sun, and like I said, in tonight's later report, after Marfugel will go in depth and zoom in on these objects and stuff, but there's a lot of stuff to go over. So just real quick, we want to come over here. Here's our GOES X-ray flux. It's pumping right along. Here is today, this box. It's already starting to creep into tomorrow. So there's our big event, and then there's a secondary event right in there. Okay, also what I want you guys to take a peek at real quick, and what we'll be covering later on too as well, is the absorption event that we're still undergoing. Okay, it's still underway. You can see it's affecting the northern hemisphere more than the southern hemisphere here. Okay, so hello folks in the chat. Hopefully some of you guys are waiting for Marfugel to go live, so I am too, and we're just doing this quick update in the meantime. So if anybody in the chat gets an alert and he goes live, let me know, and we'll shut her down and go over there and watch his report, and then we'll come back here later. In the meantime, we are still having this absorption event affecting it's affecting both the southern and northern hemisphere, but more the north, more intensely than the south right now at this period in time. Okay, so let's back out of that. I showed you the GOES X-ray flux with our events today. Okay, just real quick, we still have this sunspot 3296. It went from beta, delta, gamma back to beta, gamma. So that kind of calmed down a little bit. That's good. Over here at the at our KP index, we got our three events right here, and currently we're down at this level right here. Okay, you can see all the other models over here. But then something I want to show you too. Let's see if it'll let me. Yeah. Okay. This is Noah's spiral, and it's showing impact on the Earth. Already had one impact right here. This yellow line is where we're currently at. So we're bracing for another impact right here, okay? And that's this one right here, okay? So impact after impact after impact, we're just getting hit over and over and over again. Okay. Quickly to the Schumann real quick. Just a gap in data right here, which was right where I was kind of wondering if we were going to have a little screeching event. But if there was, we came out of it fine. The Schumann's still pumping along at 7.83 hertz. It got a little weak in this zone right here, but then it came back to life, and we're still pumping strong. Okay. I want to come over here to the earthquakes. Earlier today, we had the 7.6 here. Come on, pull this up. Yeah, it's still coming in at a 7.6 at a depth of 210. You think Marf is on already? Oops. 7.6. I saw him on earlier, just a little while ago, and I thought he said he would be back later. Anyways, let me get back to this real quick. So, still coming in at 7.6 at the depth of 210, all right? Now, this energy has kind of started to travel. Boom, boom. Here's the latest quake. But something I wanted to show you, too, is the buoy center, the National Data Buoy Center, okay? And if you look right here, that's where our quake was. It was just south of this, right here. And it triggered one buoy, but nothing else, okay? So, no tsunami. It did trigger one buoy, and that I clicked on it, and it was a small underwater, like down at depth type shock wave that triggered this one, but nothing too big to trigger any other tsunami buoys, just the one. So that's a little bit of good news right there, okay? Um, as we come back to this, um, anybody in there? Oh, Martha's done for the night? Okay, I thought I heard him say at the end that he was going to come back later, but... Oh, thank you for the well-wishing. Okay, alright, sorry, I was just checking the chat right there. I neglect my people in my chat sometimes, so I need to check them. Anyways, back to our report. So I guess now we can kind of start slowing down and going in depth if Marv's not coming on. I was just kind of filling a gap there in the meantime because we do have a lot of stuff to cover. And I happen to have a break from the battle right now, so... So let's just start going into this earthquake report then. So it started here with our small deep quake right here. This was the 4.9, yeah, 4.9 at a depth of 416. Then a little later it triggered these two quakes. The big one first at 7.6 depth of 210. Then the aftershock of it, a 5.1 at a depth of 93. Now, since then, we have had a quake enter the system, and it came in at 5.0 energy. Thankfully. I am glad to be wrong sometimes, and this is not a 7 to an 8, okay, because that potential energy is there. And it's creeping, and you can see it creeping up here already. So here we go, it dropped off another 5. Both of them are 5.0s. So it looks like our surface, because, well, that's 129 depth, and that's at 80 depth. So no, our surface pressure is still higher. This is a 5.0, like a quarter of the way down. Okay? But we got 5.0 energy in the system now. Bing, bing, and, you know, it's just off of this fulcrum point here, over here. In fact, weren't we looking... Oh, maybe I was looking privately at this place earlier. Anyway, let's back out a little bit. And you can see it creeping up. Now, we have 4.4 at a depth of 103 there, and 4.9 at a depth of 10 there. Let's go up this side. This is the side I'm a little more concerned about. And we still have our 3 quakes in this channel region right here. The 4.3, and that's a depth. That's a 286 depth. That's, you know, a third of the way down, you know. The other one is a 4.9 at a depth of 33, and the biggest of them was a 5.0 at a depth of 35. Okay, and those were earlier today. So that energy is traveling up the system, dumping off 5.0 type energy along the lines, even lower. In some spots, it's down to 4.9, 4.4 on that one. Now, this latest quake right here, this red one, is a 4.4 off of Japan at a depth of 11. This one's a 4.1 at a depth of 363. So this one's a halfway depth right here. a little bit more than halfway deep. So a semi-deep quake right here. 4.1 translates at the surface, I'd say, 4.5, nothing more than 5. Then we got 5.2 right above it there, and 5.0. So it looks like this energy is traveling along, dropping off the quakes along the line like it usually does. Next place to hit is up here, probably 5.0, or a little puff of smoke out of. In fact, let's see what happened here, because there's our 3 energy. Okay, maybe it didn't along the line, but this appears to be our 3.0 energy, or our 3 energy coming off. This 5 energy pinched off garden hose trickles down to 3 energy, and bing, drops one off already. And down here, this is 4.7 at a depth of 10, 4.610, and catch this other one. Let me just zoom in a little harder. Oh, there's 4 of them. 4.910 and 4.9. So some 4.9 to 5 energy, mid 4 to 5 energy right there. And now let's see if that came from the south or from the north. And we even have an earthquake here at Hawaii, 3.5. So it looks to have spread out and is dumping quakes off at Hawaii, all up to here. It looks like it missed this zone, came over here and dumped it off there, and some 5 energy in there. This, I don't believe, these quakes, I don't believe came from the Cocos plate. That's not pressure coming up. That looks like pressure that came across. There's no fault. Between this point and this point, there's a fault running through the middle. But between this point and this point, there is no other fault for it to drop off a quake on, except bing, boom. All right, so it looks like our energy has reached the West Coast, and it dumped off stuff down here at Baja. Okay. Or we still have potential energy that's built up that has still yet to translate, or enter the system, we'll say. And it looks like it's reached, it's reached northernly up to here, and southerly here. It hasn't reached this fulcrum point or this fulcrum point. I don't believe it's come over here. This quake over here at Greece, in the Mediterranean Sea, we'll say 4.3. That's just a random residual quake from maybe earlier energy. That's not a result of any of this energy yet getting there. Okay, so now that we did that, you guys following along pretty well? It seems to be. A couple here at the this is Dominican Republic. Okay. And Puerto Rico. There's Puerto Rico. Okay, so just a couple of little quakes there, nothing too big. All right. What was impressive was that quake that we had out here off of Bermuda the other day. That was interesting. That was yesterday, yeah. Okay, so there is our earthquake report and buoy. Just this one right here. And we'll click on it real quick. And it was just right here, this little shake up right at the very bottom right here. And it's not much. It didn't cause a very big tsunami. It did set this into alert mode, but there wasn't a tsunami. Okay? So, that's good. Thankfully, that's good. Schumann we looked at. This. Oh, now that we got more time, let's come back to this instrument and back out of the NOAA spiral. I want to look at the other spiral, the tracker here. Let's zoom this in. Okay. Now, good. Finally one that's heading away from us. Jeez. I mean, we've been taking it on the chin, blow after blow after blow. Finally, we got the CME, at least, is heading away from us. The object that induced that CME is still earthbound. Unfortunately, everything's coming to Earth. because of what's about to go down. All right. And then, so yay, that's some good news too. A little bit of good news in this report at least. Okay, our auroras, let's zoom out a little bit so I can see both at the same time. Okay, so here's our auroras. Still pretty strong over North America. Now this effect on the southern part, remember how last night we had the aurora wasn't going around the pole, it was at the pole and draping down this way. It was this blob was more on this side over here towards Australia. It looks like it's pulling more this way now. It's more centered over the center of the planet instead of the very edge of the ring being right at the center of the pole. Okay, it looks to be that this belt is, expanding back. It's retreating away from Australia and expanding this way. So the object that caused the tug towards the Australia side has now passed and shifted, or has passed and caused the auroral ring to shift back that direction. Okay. Whew. And now it appears that the northern one, see, here's the top of the planet right here. Let me pull this over a little bit better for you guys. All right, see the little compass effect right here on the very top of the planet? The aurora is just the faintness of the backside of the ring is right at the ring of the compass, and then it really is tugged down this direction towards North America. So now the southern one seems to be straightening out, while the northern one now is being tugged down. So the passage of these objects is tugging on the auroral belt where we absorb our stuff. Interesting. Very, very interesting. All right. Well, that's just all projection of the backside of the sun. There's our blast. Okay. And even in this image, the trained eye can see the objects. It's kind of weird that they don't report this stuff anymore. They just keep reporting it as a CME, like it's, whoops, I backed out of the whole thing. There we go. And not what's causing the CME. It's not the sunspot. The sunspot is a scar on the surface of the sun left over from being raped. May 11th, I had the G7, or G3, G2, May 13th. They're predicting a G2 for the 12th and a 7. Yeah, we're going to get hit hard tomorrow, dude. We're going to get so hit hard tomorrow. You know what? Let's back up 3 days. Tomorrow will be the 11th, so the 8th. Let's go take a peek at the 8th and what it looked like here. There it is. And while this loop's loading up, this will be the inbound energy that we're expecting to get hit with tomorrow. And it doesn't look like much. I think maybe it's the that first blast right there. That's what we're going to get hit with, the opening frames. So early on tomorrow, possibly. Yeah, that's 2, 1. That's a big blast right there. Followed by this one. Okay, so a double shot, kinda. Definitely coming at the Earth on that one. So this absorption thing will be a lot stronger tomorrow, and that will be affecting tomorrow's weather a lot more than it did today. Unfortunately, I can't tell you, but I didn't get to catch the weather today. Where are we going, Lord? I'm trying to figure out where you want me to go. Anyway, so right now they're in the daytime, and look at how strong the southern thing is coming up towards Australia. Ours northernly bowed down towards deeper into America, or deeper into Canada, we'll say. It didn't reach America, but it went deeper into Canada. The bulge, the trough dropped down a little deeper into Canada earlier. Now, with the sun on this side of the planet, it appears to be tugging on the bottom, pulling it up even more. So maybe our auroral wobble, that auroral zone wobble is what I'm going to call it. This, as it shifts from, centered to being pulled down to going back to centered, from being centered to being pulled down and going back to centered, the passage of these objects tugs on these, and what was I going to say? Oh, I lost it. Dang it. We were right there. We're looking at that. We went back to this. Anyways, you can see that this wobble effect could be from day to night side too. In fact, I'm pretty sure it might be, because here's the shadow cast. Do you see this darker region right now? This is the side of the side of the plant that has the sun shining on it. This is the side that's in nighttime over here. And that's what we were trying to say, is it appears that the sun is what's tugging these auroral bands back and forth. Because see, the nighttime over here, the sun is pushing it away, it seems to be. Because the sunny side of the planet right here, and that's the dark side of the planet, and it seems to be pushing, the sun is pushing the auroras back. See how it's the opposite side of the sun pushing it down into the darker side of the planet. So I believe maybe the sun now is the cause of this auroral tug, as well as these objects. When they pass by, they tug on it, and then the sun tugs back. They're kind of going back and forth like a ping pong ball, kind of. Anyway, so we did this one. We finished here? Are we finished here yet? We did the tracker. No, the heartbeat and everything. Okay. The Schumann we covered. Earthquakes we covered. The buoys we covered. Let's come on over here to Null School now. Alright, let's just turn the world upside down and take a look. Isn't that gnarly? That is just the gnarliest polar vortex. And it's creeping up this way. It's creeping from the South Pole upward towards South America. Look at this. It's enveloped all that part of South America from here on down. See that? It's all enveloped in the southern polar vortex. There's some serious issues going on. And then look at our lack of vortex at all. I mean, we have this weird little band right here where these two counter-rotating oscillations. We got almost a third? No. Here's the one rotating. Oh, come on, Brian. Let's get it better than that. Okay, here's this one rotating this direction. Meanwhile, this vortex is rotating the opposite direction. They both come over the top and blend together right down the middle here, and then split and go back. And that's not even over the North Pole. That, see, here's the North Pole compass right here. That's the top of the planet. These vortexes, all right, I'm leaving the arrow on the top of the planet. See where the vortexes are compared to the top of the planet? They're way offset, way over here, way down. They're not even the polar vortex. They're a replacement or some kind of whatever the effect is having is causing these counter-rotating vortexes that come over the top and interlock and blend back together in the middle. Craziest stuff. I've seen water flow like this before, in these vortices like this, but I've never seen this kind of flow pattern in our atmosphere. Okay, it's something's wrong. Something's wrong. And now, as we come over here to this blue boundary line, okay, this separates the mid-latitude boundary from the, northern or southern latitudes, okay? And you see how this goes the opposite direction than the middle latitudes. Same with everything above this blue band. It goes the opposite direction. And these blue, not bands, but boundaries, for lack of a better term, are kind of what separate the weather and keep it, the weather in the middle of the planet, its weather, the northern from the southern, separated, right? Well, now, if you look, we have this flow coming from the northern hemisphere, crossing that boundary and blending in now with the mid-latitude, or with the equatorial, not mid-latitude, equatorial flow, okay? This is mid-latitude. That's equatorial. So our blue barrier is being breached right here, where everything's coming from above it, going down into the equatorial flow. It comes out of the equatorial flow, and we have a vortex growing here over. Why is this not so bright on the camera? Hopefully you guys are seeing this. Anyways, it's crossing this blue boundary. We got a vortex going here just south of Spain here. Well, it's in northern Africa, and the boundary line is slowly being pushed up and up and up, and it's creeping further up, and pretty soon it's going to shove this stuff up into Europe. All right, now as we go around this blue boundary area again, it's being disrupted in several places. Right here over Texas, this is odd. It's pushing against the flow that wants to come up in to feed the tornadoes. So we might have, this is going to slow things up down below. Because down below, they still going to move in that pattern right there. But, oh dear. That is not. Wow. Look how deep and strong this trough is right here. And it swirls and cuts back and goes. Okay, you see how intense it after this curve, see how intense it gets right in here? Tomorrow's outbreak, there's going to be an outbreak tomorrow right around there. We have this big low up here. It's rotating stuff from up here right into the west, northwest. Not so much the west coast, California, but more the northwest now. Okay, we have this ridge right here that's splitting it, keeping it from blending in to this flow until it's over more towards Texas. And look at it, it's just really, really violent, real, oh boy, aggro just, it's out of control. This is all just so jumbled and messy. It's going to make the weather just totally weird and unpredictable. Then you can see what the giant vortex has done to the bottom of the planet. Here's their upper jet down there. And it almost looks like a starfish or something, doesn't it? It's Patrick. Hey, it's Patrick. All right. Crazy. Crazy weather we're having. Okay. Whoops. Let's get this on some chemicals now. Let's go over to the SO2. Take away the wind. Take away the legend. And zoom in. How we doing today, America? Not too bad. This little patch seems to be kind of clearing up down here. Not so intense in here anymore. So it looks like west, everything west is lightening up too. So then we will go in on the Bay Area here. And we have our small little plume, not as dark, not as wide. So it looks like a little relief in pressure, or at least in SO2 emissions. We still have the sites up here, up at BC and Vancouver, Port Angeles, uh, Seattle area and stuff in here. Okay, something spewing from probably a volcano right around here. You look up here, this is Canada where all the fires and stuff were happening. Okay, that's not the fires. That's not. Excuse me. That is not SO2 from fires, because burning trees don't produce sulfur dioxide. So that is from underground, and those fires were sparked from underground, magma pushing up through pores and cracks in the crust. You can see China's in hot water, and Saudi Arabia. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, I posted a couple of things in the community chat, or in the community page on my channel, that you might enjoy. Hopefully you guys have went over to Julie Green and have seen some of her work by now, and you're enjoying her. She's very passionate. She prays with passion, with sincerity. It's kind of an example for others to copy, as to, not what to say, but an example of the passion that you should have when you're praying. Okay, let's back out of this. We're going to change chemicals real quick. I want the SO4. Now, this is sulfur quad oxide. It's got 4 oxygen molecules, or atoms in the molecule. And the brighter the white, the more intense the plume of sulfur SO4. We'll call it SO4. Okay? Really high concentrations over China right here. Huh. Now, this chemical, SO4, comes from both man-made and from the ground. What you're seeing is their pollution problem, okay? And what happens is this SO4 goes up into the atmosphere and it blows around. It gets caught up in these storms, right? You can see the outline of the storm because of the sulfur in it, right? Pretty nasty, huh? Well, the nasty part about this SO4 is, if you took chemistry, you'll understand that SO4 can mix with the water in the air, H2O. Well, when you mix H2O and SO4, you get a compound called H2SO4, which is better known as sulfuric acid. I'll say it again. H2OSO4 is sulfuric acid. You are looking at sulfuric acid plumes in your atmosphere, acid storms that dump acid rain and acid snow and produce all kinds of. And look at this plumage coming out from the west coast. Everything east of that line is spewing SO4. So everything, not only SO2, but SO4 from that side of the country over. Okay? We got some serious problems. This is not good. And every volcano that goes off adds to more of this SO4, the sulfur quad oxide, in the atmosphere. Okay? Now, as we back out, that's the northern hemisphere. Okay? You see how intense it gets over China and some of these areas, right, that pollute like mad. Then you see the green tint and how it's spread out, right? Let's go down to the bottom half of the planet, shall we? Look how this SO4 has circumnavigated the globe and is now everywhere. Everywhere except for like Antarctica. There's like traces there, but it's not as intense there. But the North Pole, oh, it's got plenty of SO4. Okay, not so much down here. But you see this curlicue? See how this chemical gets caught up in the storms? All right, and that'll dump acid snow on Antarctica, and when it melts later, it'll be acid water. It's just, it is what it is, okay? And I just got to make you aware that we have SO4, sulfur quad oxide, that I like to call it, that is dangerous when it mixes with the water in the air. There's water vapor in our air. It mixes with the water in the oceans. It makes the oceans acidic too, okay? And there's no way to like stick a vacuum hose through the atmosphere and suck it all out. It's stuck, it's trapped inside the atmosphere with us. Okay? And it's just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse the more volcanism we have too. And here we are over at Java. Here's our channel. And look at all the SO4 emissions from the channel area. Okay? Not only SO2, but SO4 emitting from this area. This area is really, really under high alert, really. It should be. Okay? Because of what's going on here. The earthquake activity, the volcanism, and the SO4 emissions. This is a hot spot. Okay? Let's just call it that. It's a hot spot. Okay? Now let's go back to the air. What do we want to look at? You were talking about? Oh yeah, the fires. And we're gonna do the space overlay on that one now this time, so we don't get any confusion. All right, there's your fires, folks. Okay, we're gonna pull it down. Look up here at Russia. See all this up in here? Way up high, too. They're having fires pretty high. It's not even the end of summer yet, or fire season, really, and awful lot of fires going on around the planet, isn't there? Look at all that. Alright, we'll go through Africa, come over here to South America and Brazil. Look at that area. It's glowing. Mexico really is on fire. Look at this place. Just, it lights up when we undo it. Let me tilt the screen back there so we can get the black on orange effect there. So, then we pull it down to America here, and you can see it's creeping up Mexico. It's starting to infect America on this part and creeping around. here we are up in Canada. See, it's creeped up into Canada and started fires up there in Canada, right? So fires are now breaking out around the world, okay? Not so much in the southern hemisphere. Well, they're having their share too. Let's come over Australia. Most of theirs are up in this region. Let's go to the island of Java. Not many fires on it, but this other island, see that? They're having some spot fires now. And what I want you to see is like right here. This is water. There's hot spots under the water. Boom, 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 all around this area. Let me tint this out a little bit so you can kind of see them. Okay, there's all hot spots in the water. You can't have a fire underwater. Well, you can if it's a volcano busting through the crust. And there's some in this. Oh, where is he? All right. Well, we're just gonna pull back and rotate over, and now you can see the fires are raging. All being kept kind of quiet, but I'll tell you. I'll show you. Okay? And a lot of these fires are being started from underground. All right, this is magma that pushing the SO4 and SO2 out of the way, and once all that gas bleeds out and there's no more gas to come up through, the next thing that's going to come up through those pores and cracks is magma. And you're seeing hot spots and fires being started from underground. Not all of these are, but let's just say that when the magma gets to that close to the crust or that close to the surface, it evaporates a lot of water out of all the surrounding land, all the plants, all the dirt, all the ponds all dry up because of the heat that's underneath them. And then, with dry conditions, all it takes is an idiot with a cigarette, and you got a fire. So, this season, watch out. This is going to be a big, big fire season. And for unknown reasons, well, you guys will know it's coming from below. Everybody's going to start talking about, oh, it's the DEW weapons. They fired it at the house, and it burned the house down, and that's why the tree burned from the inside out. No. The tree burned from the root structure up. It started the middle of the tree on fire, and the tree burned from the middle out. That's how that happens. I'm sure you guys have seen video of trees on fire on the inside, but not on the outside. And you're thinking, how can that be? How can that happen? Well, that's precisely how it happens. It's heat induction from underneath the surface coming up through the ground, setting the root structure on fire. It should have been a dead giveaway when they were looking in the hole. There was no stump. The whole tree burned down and there was no stump. The stump was missing and the roots were missing. But there were burned out little tunnels in the dirt where the root structure used to be. What kind of fire burns down the root structure that's in the dirt where there's no oxygen? Well, a fire from below. That's how it works. It's because the earth is swelling from the inside out. It's like overcooking the egg and cracking the shell of the egg. It's the crust of the planet is the shell of the egg. We are overcooking, and now the shell is cracking and splitting, and fires are coming to the surface. Okay? All right. Glad you guys can grasp that concept. It's ugly news. I hate to be the one to have to tell you this. happy-lucky kind of go type of guy. I don't like reporting on bad news, but I have to because God's given me the knowledge, and apparently that's what I was sent here for, was to warn you. Okay, we covered that one. We covered, where are we going? We did earthquakes. Okay, let's do the forecast now. And while this loop is going to play, oh, there's a little more data. There was only like 5 frames, but before I let this loop play, I gotta talk about something. Right now, this is our current conditions with our low here. We had these pop-up thunderstorms outside of Denver. Denver almost got hit with tornadoes today. Then we had, hang on. All right, never mind. All right, so back to where it was. So this current conditions, we had these tornado outbreaks today up in Colorado and area, and now I want to take you, that's overnight, to this frame right here. I want you to look over here. All right, I gotta go check something. The dog's going nuts. This is 7 p.m. This is the end of convection on May 11th. And then I'm going to put this into motion and just watch the loop. I gotta go see what's going on. I'll be right back. Just a deer. Just a deer going through the yard. Hang on just a second, folks. I'll be right there. Come on, bud. Where's your mama? Okay, I'm back. I could hear the dog going ballistic, and I'm like, what's going on? It's just a deer running through our yard. So, but quite the storm we got going on right here, and it, see how it kind of slowly just dissipates, and that moisture just lingers in the air here. So tomorrow, watch out. There's going to be back here in Colorado again, I think in Kansas area. We should go over to Andy Hill and watch the end of his report where he gives a forecast for tomorrow's events that are about to unfold in this area tomorrow. Okay? And we're not going to go too much into detail because this GFS model is just so radically changing from moment to moment that it's not as reliable anymore. So, but what I do want to focus on is this storm right here. This is no joke. Tomorrow, watch out. Nebraska, Kansas, back into Colorado, this whole area, and even coming down the backside of this storm too. This might make it over the top of this and come down into Colorado. Okay, so everybody be on high alert in Colorado and in northwestern northwestern Kansas and southern western Nebraska. Okay, that whole region right there is one big target tomorrow, and there's going to be some hellacious weather probably going off tomorrow. And that's where you guys, your prayers. You know, I can't say enough about praying. I don't know if you're going to be able to stop this, but we can minimize some of the damage and lives lost. Lives lost before they know the knowledge, okay? Think about that. People losing their lives before knowing what's going on. All right. That's why it's important you guys get this word out and share my videos. And if you don't share my video, that's fine. Just tell them about the Lord and let everybody know. You, as my audience, are on a mission from God. You guys are out there saving souls. This is no joke anymore. We don't care about saving lives. We're saving souls, baby. So they're going to die. We all have to die someday, right? Well, are you going to get the knowledge before that day? And when's that day going to come? You never know. It could come tomorrow. It might come tomorrow for some of these people. So start praying for these people that God gives them knowledge, that God gives them mercy, protection. Pray for their endurance because they're about to endure living hell. I mean, a nightmare that you cannot wake up from. A nightmare that you want to go to sleep and you'd rather be asleep than being awake because the living nightmare is too much to take compared to just regular sleep. So, pray for these people. And we're also looking down here, too. Don't count this out as well. All right? This whole area, okay? This low pressure system combined with the energy that's coming in tomorrow is nothing to bat your eye at. It's going to be serious tomorrow, so please take it serious and please pray seriously. And I think I might just close it. You know what? Let's do a reading, I guess. I was going to put Julie Green on again, but you guys can go over there and start researching her and her work. She's truly channeling the Lord, okay? What she's saying is 100% true. She's only telling you the Bible. The Bible is what's 100% true. She isn't. The Bible is. She's just telling you how it all correlates. And then we're going to pull up an image to read to. Which one now, Lord? Where are we going? Oh. Alright, let this image pull up here real quick after their ads. Jeez, they're not even monetized, and they still make money off of me. Really? 2 ads for my video, huh? Ridiculous. Alright, here we go. Alright. Let's go back a couple frames right here. Alright, hopefully, let's go full screen here. Alright, and around a wedge. Where's the wedge? Oh, maybe that'll work. Trying to get this just right. Up here in this corner, in this cloud, is an image of Jesus pulling his shirt open and exposing his heart, and his heart is radiating out a face in the clouds. But here's Jesus' head. It looks like he's wearing sunglasses. Don't ask me why, but Jesus with sunglasses. Here's his head. Here's his shoulders coming down. He's reaching in with his arms, and like Superman, he's pulling open his shirt and radiating out these waves. Let me scoot this back and get this image properly for you guys, because I want you to be able to see this. This image should bring you hope. Okay, it's kind of faint. It's a little hard. You can come over here and watch the original video. You can see a lot better. But anyways, what we're focusing on is Jesus with his sunglasses on right here, pulling his shirt open and exposing his heart, and his heart is radiating out these waves like this and making a face in the sky. Okay? The face in the sky it's my face. It's weird. I don't want to get into that part. I just want you to focus on Jesus pulling his shirt open and his heart radiating out. Okay? And then I'm going to dig in my notes here. Oh, let's see. What are we going to talk about tonight? All right, maybe we'll close with this one right here. Let me read this one to you, and then we'll be done here. So, if you have me, your Savior, Lord, and friend, you have everything that really matters. You may not have riches, fame, or success, but don't let that discourage you. As I said to my disciples, what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Nothing can compare with the priceless treasure of eternal life. Consider a jewel merchant on the hunt for excellent pearls. When he found one that was flawless, he sold everything and bought it. My kingdom is like that, of inestimable worth. So learn to be content with having me, beloved, regardless of what you may lack in this world. The source of much discontentment is comparing oneself with others. I want you to make every effort to avoid this deadly trap. Remember that you are my unique creation, redeemed by my blood, and exquisitely precious to me. So, stay in joyful communication with me, your Savior, who loves you immeasurably, more than you can imagine. And I will transform you more and more into the masterpiece I designed you to be. That's it. I love you all. I miss you all. God bless you all. And until my next video, bye.